So today I am preparing for Thanksgiving and I thought you guys could just hang out with me. Today I have some greens, mustard greens. I love mustards and turnips. I'm not a big fan of collard greens. So I have mustard greens here that I am going to prep and cook today. I'm also going to go ahead and cook the cornbread for my dressing this week. You guys would not believe this. You know how we have Martha White's cornbread mix, or some other Gladiola cornbread mix, the unsweetened that we use to make our dressing in the packages? You can't find that here. All they have is like the Jiffy cornbread mix, and I messed up and used that last year. That was a mess. That was a big fail. So this year I decided, okay, you know what? I'll just have to make my own cornbread. And then I'm going to chop up my vegetables for the dressing. But I just want to get a head start on my prepping for Thanksgiving. And you guys can just hang out and watch while I do that. Now I already have some water run here in the sink. And you can see that I have my trusty colander that I love to use. I think for my sister who bought this for me, Lil. And I really love this thing because I can just hang it over the sink. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I have my little cutting board here. And one of the things that I do, wow, I have a lot of greens. Let's put these over here. So what I have here is all of my mustards. And I know everyone's way to prep and cook greens is different. And so, this doesn't say you have to do yours the way I do mine, but this is just the way that I found that it makes it so much easier for me. And give me just a second. I need to get my knife. Okay. So one thing I like to do is, the greens come in the stalk and they have a little twist tie on them. I can remove that. And I usually have a bag sitting here for my trash. Let's see. Here's one. I'll use this for my trash. Okay, and so I'll sit my stalks there. But what I like to do is take the bunch of greens, and then I like to just take my knife, and instead of picking, like I used to spend hours picking each stalk or each stem, I found that if I just cut off all of those stems, and I have most of the greens in there, I do that. And then what I'll do is take the stalks and put them in my colander for right now, because I'm not done with those. So this is the way I get started. And I just take these and take off these ties. And just chop that off, and I throw that in the sink. I put the stalks to the side because, like I said, I'm not through with those yet. There's still some greens on there that I don't want to get rid of, so I want to go back through and pick those. But it's not as bad as it's not as much work as having to do the whole stalk. So again, I just cut off the stalk, put those in the water, and put these over to the side. Now I have 2 bags of greens to do, so I'm going to stop at this point because you've seen this part, and when I get ready for the next phase, I'll come back and you can see what I do after that, okay? Okay guys, I'm back. So I've just finished cleaning off the rest of those stalks that I put over in my basket. It only took me about 3 minutes to quickly go through those and take off any limbs that were usable, I'll say. But I just wanted to show you what some of those stems look like as I trim them off. Some have just a little leaf on them. Some have nothing on them, so it's easy for me just to pick those out and quickly toss them to the side. And then sometimes I'll have some that will have some greens on them, and those I can quickly identify, shred them, and put it in the sink. Sometimes I'll have some of those. Most of the time, it's something that kind of looks like that, or it'll be these stems. But that's my way. When I was younger, of course, Mother always had us to take each individual leaf and shred it down to the stalk or to the stem. But it took so much time, and we were on our feet for hours. I used to do that. But what I found recently was that my process works better if I just cut off the end of the stem, and I can quickly just toss those limbs in the sink and then go back and just remove any remaining, and it doesn't take me any time at all to get them done. So as I stated before, and I'm going to move this out of the way, this is discard as well as this. Now I will say today that the greens that I bought from the store, they're a little bit dirty, well rather very dirty. So I'm going to wash these about 3 times because I want to make sure that they're nice and clean, and I'll check the sink to make sure that there's no grit in the bottom of the sink before I move on to the next step. But I'm going to go ahead and wash these up and go through that process. Let me see if I can let you see this. I happen to have one of the farmhouse sinks. It's a pretty large sink. You can see that. It's the farmhouse sink. And so it's full of greens. And so I'm going to go ahead and clean those up, and then I'll come back on and show you those in a little bit. But one thing I want to show you are the flowers that I have. I happen to have the fireplace going right now. I'm just enjoying a wonderful, relaxing day. It's cool outside, so I wanted the fireplace going, but I want to share my flowers with you. These are my flowers for Thanksgiving. Usually I get white flowers. I love the white flowers, but this time I just said, oh, you know, it'd be really nice to have that color, the color flowers. And so also this is a vase that it's actually a water pitcher, and I got that from TJ Maxx, I think, or Home Goods. No, I think TJ Maxx. But I love that for my flowers because when I'm done, or when I have to change out the water, you know, every 3 days or so, I can easily just pour that out with the handle and clean, and then put new water and some food for the fertilizer, not fertilizer, but food for the flowers again. So I'm going to go ahead, you guys. I just want to show you that. That's my pretty flowers for the holiday. I'm going to go ahead and clean these greens up now, and I will come back on when I'm ready for the next step. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so I have done the first cleaning on the greens, and there was a lot of dirt on them, so I've rinsed that out. I've run some more water, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let those soak in the water for a few seconds while I cut up my peppers. So I have a couple of red peppers and an orange pepper, and I'm actually going to use these in the greens and in my dressing. So I'm going to go ahead and chop these up in preparation for that. And so, yeah, I love to put the red peppers in my greens. So I like to just take out the heart of the pepper. That's just my process. Everyone has their own way of doing things. That's just my process. I probably need a bag over here. That's kind of what I do, is just take out the heart from the pepper. I try not to cut out too much because I don't want to lose any, right? And any remaining seeds I will just kind of dump out, and as I'm cutting there will be more there. So I'm just going to go ahead and slice and chop these peppers up, because all I do in my greens, I don't do the meat anymore. I grew up on, you know, smoked neck bones and even smoked turkey necks. I love smoked turkey meat. I love the smoked turkey meat. But when I was younger, my mother used to use a lot of the fat back, and all of the different types of fats that you could put in grease. And there was one time she used to use these sheets. They were pork skins, just sheets of fat. And I was like, oh my gosh, this big sheet of pork skin is floating in the greens. I was like, I can't. So when I started cooking greens, I graduated to doing just the smoked meats, and I would do the smoked turkey. And about 5 years ago, I just decided, you know, I really don't need any meat in my greens. And so it's just the seasoning that I would use. And usually I do add onions to this as well, but I'm not going to do that this time. But I'll use my peppers, and of course I have some jalapeno peppers also that go in there, and then just simple seasoning. And I start out with olive oil in the pan, and I'll saute the peppers in the pan, and then I'll throw in other seasonings and just put the greens in and just let them saute or simmer, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and get started cutting up these peppers. And once I'm done with this, I'll come back and show you where I am next, and I'll do the greens some more. Okay. Okay guys, this is our third rinse, and we're just going to take a look and see how the greens look, or how the sink looks. From here, it looks like all of the dirt is gone. What you see floating there is just bits and pieces of the greens. That's not dirt, but I'm checking the bottom of the sink to make sure I don't see traces of dirt trailing out from the sink, and it looks like we've gotten it all. That's just bits and pieces of the greens through my rough washing. So it looks like we're ready to go ahead now and start prepping to cook the greens. Now all I need to do is get my pot, and I'm going to do the peppers. I can show you here that I have diced the peppers. Now these are going to be for the dressing. You can see they're diced a little smaller, and then I have the bigger chunks here that's going to go in the dressing, and I actually ended up with 2 cups of that, and that's going in the greens. The heavier slices, the thicker slices are going in the greens, and then these finely chopped slices are going in the dressing. So I have 2 cups for the greens because I do have a mound of greens. Let me see if I can show you this. It is a mound of greens, and so I'm going to do all of those in the pot that I have, and I usually just start out, I'll put some in, let it cook down, and I'll just keep adding until I get it all in the pot. So this is going to make a pot full this time. Hopefully I will have some left over for the week or the week after. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prep for cooking the greens this time. I think I'm actually going to add a couple of slices of bacon in just to get a little bit of au jus and a little bit of flavor. So I'll add a couple of pieces of bacon in there, and then I'll put in the olive oil. Okay, I'll come back once I get that going, and I'll show you that. Okay guys, listen, I have managed to get all of the greens in my pot, and let me just show you what size pot this is. It's not a very large pot, but I just tend to add the greens. I let them cook down, and then I add until they're all cooked down. But this is going to make a nice size pot of greens, and so you can see how that's looking. I ended up adding some of the onions that I had for the dressing. It was a little more than I wanted to be able to go into the dressing, so I ended up adding a little bit this time to the greens. So those are going to cook down, and then I will come back and show you when that's finished. So the greens are cooking down, and you're going to have an opportunity to see what those look like once they're done. But right now, you can see that I have a salmon that I purchased from Costco the other day. This is a nice size piece of salmon. You can see here. It's a beauty. So I am going to fillet this so that I can put this into pieces and wrap and place in the freezer so that I can cook as I want. It's actually turned out to be more than that bag that you get in the store. And although this was about the same cost, I'm actually going to get more from this piece of fish than I do when I get it out of the stores, because this is about a little over 5 pounds. So I'm going to fillet this salmon, and then I'll come back on and show you guys that I'm going to steak it actually. I'm going to steak the salmon, and then I'll come back on and show you guys how that turned out, okay? No, I'm going to fillet it. I'm not going to steak it. Sorry. But I'll show you how that turned out, all right? See you guys in a bit. Okay guys, I'm back, and I just wanted to show you the fillets that I did with the salmon. And this is actually coho salmon. It's not Atlantic. So, and to be fair, I've never carved a salmon before, not a whole salmon. So I wanted you guys to come back and look at my fillets. And one thing I will say though, this was my first time, and this is what was left. This is the bones in the middle of, well, in the salmon. These were the, but I did actually do a pretty good job of cleaning that and getting the big part of the meat. The rest of that is bones. It's a thin layer of meat. So, okay, I am done with the salmon. I had a lot of prep and food and things that I needed to do today. The only thing I have left today is to make my cornbread for the dressing. So I'm going to do that. I probably won't share or film that maybe until it's done as well with the greens. And I'm going to cook some dinner for myself right now. And so I will come back and touch base with you guys later. Thanks for hanging out with me today, by the way. You guys have a great day. Okay, guys, I am back and I wanted to share with you what I'm having for dinner today. And this is one of my favorite meals to make. So I have here some of the party wings, and I buy these from Costco. There is a pack of like 6, and each pack has 10 to 12 to 13 party wings in them, and you can see that they're already cut up, and that's just, I love the fact that they're already cut up. And so all I do is season this with my Webster's steak and chop seasoning. Let's see if you can see that. Webster's steak and chop seasoning. And so I love this seasoning. I find this at Sam's. And so they don't have Sam's up here anymore. So whenever I get back to Texas, I go back and I stock up on this because I actually love this stuff, this seasoning. And I actually use this on my salmon. I use it on my lamb chops, and most every time I use it on my wings. And they do have some other flavors that I've tried on my wings, such as like maybe something like a jalapeno and garlic or something like that. I've tried that. So I simply just season this. This is all I do. I season this. And I turn it over to season the other side. I didn't get that side good. Right? And then I just season the other side. And it has like some, it has of course some savory, some salt, but or seasoning, but it also has like some coarse pepper, which I really love. And so then all I do is I'm going to rinse my hands. And all I do is take this and I put this in my air fryer. And I purchased this off of HSN, several years ago. But I'll just take this, and I've just recently cleaned this out. So I just take a piece and I place them like so in the air fryer. And I alternate pieces, like I'll place the drumsticks, and in between I'll place a wingette. And so that's how I position it in there. I don't know if it's necessary, but that's just the way I do it. And so I'll get all of these in the air fryer, and once they're all in, I'll put it, and I set it on the highest setting, which is 400 degrees, and I'll let that cook for about 25 to 30 minutes. I don't even know if it takes that long, maybe about 25 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so. I usually put more time. That's why I don't know exactly, because I usually put more time on there than what is needed. So I will just season those and put those in, and then I don't know if you can see that, and then I'll just let those cook. So I'll put this in and I'll set the timer, and that will get going, and I just put this in and leave it, and once it's done, the greens should be ready, and I will have this for dinner today. Okay, I'll let you guys see what this looks like once it's done, okay? Okay guys, the chicken wings are ready, and I don't know if you can hear this. I've got foil underneath, but if you can hear that, they are going to be crispy. It is going to be crispy and crunchy. This is, again, one of my favorite meals. It's really quick just to do some chicken wings. You know, we all love to go to Wingstop or Buffalo Wild Wings or places like that to get our wings. And so this is just my way to have some, you know, chicken as we do, and just in some wings. I love these. It's no grease because the grease drains into the bottom of the pan. There's no flouring or adding batter. It's just putting the season on, and that seasoning helps it to be, I think it helps it to give it a crispy coating. It may be crispy even without the seasoning, but you know, I've never tried it without putting seasoning on. So I just wanted you guys to get a look at my chicken wings, and I absolutely love them, and I'm going to enjoy this. So I'm going to fix my plate and have dinner because I'm starved. I've been, you know, preparing for Thanksgiving all morning. That's what I've done today. So I want to eat because I haven't eaten since 7 o'clock this morning. And it is now 2:30. So yes, it's time for a little snack. So this is going to be my dinner today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys on Thanksgiving Day or the day before as I'm preparing the rest of my meal. I am going to be cooking up the dressing, and I'm also going to be doing some homemade rolls. I will have already made the dough for that, but I'll show you what that looks like. And then I'm going to be rolling out the dough and cooking those rolls on, I'd probably do it the night of before Thanksgiving so that I don't have to do that that morning. Okay, guys, see you guys later. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Hi, guys. It's Tuesday night. It's about 8:30 here, and I am back to continue working on my Thanksgiving dinner. So tonight I'm going to finish my dressing, or at least prepare it. I'm going to mix everything together. I'm not going to cook it tonight, but I am going to mix everything together, and I will bake this tomorrow evening when I get in. Now, what I didn't show you earlier is that over here I finished making the dough for my rolls. I didn't make a lot. I made like a half batch, which when it's done, it's going to make about 2.5 dozen rolls. And so what I'm doing now is doing my cornbread for the dressing, and you can see that I've already broken up the cornbread, and I'm preparing to mix all the ingredients together. So you can watch me as I do that for a little bit. Now, I will say one thing I like to do is once I kind of get everything in, to kind of make it smoother, I love to use my blender instead of, I'll start out with the whisk and then I'll transition to the blender for a little bit because I like to have everything nice and smooth. So since I'm not doing a turkey or boiling a hen or anything, I'm just using some simple chicken broth is what I'm going to use for flavor, because actually for me, since it's just me, I'm going to do some turkey wings. I have some smoked turkey wings that I'm going to fix tomorrow evening, and I have some more peppers and onion that I'm simply going to put that into the oven and let that cook. Okay, I'm gonna need a lot more of that. So let's just kind of get this going and get it started. I only have 2 of these, so I have to add water if it's not enough. And so the other day, what you didn't get to see also from my meal prep, as I'm getting everything all over the counter. What you didn't get to see from my prep that I finished up, I did the peppers. I finished the peppers and the celery. I chopped everything up and just kind of wrapped it up, as well as my onions. So I already have all of that ready to go. Just want to get this started. And I tell you what I'm going to do, since you know what I'm going to put in, I also have some garlic cloves here that I'm going to also put in. And once I get this down a little bit, and for my breadcrumbs, I just have some Progresso Italian seasoning breadcrumbs. That's what I'm going to add in my dressing, and I do have my sage over here. Okay, so I'll tell you what I want to do. Since you know what I'm going to mix in here right now, I want to get all the ingredients in. I'm going to mix all of this up, and then I'll come back and show you one of the other little tricks I like to do, and you'll get to see what this looks like as I prepare it into the dish that I'm going to cook and serve in. Okay? Okay guys, I am back. I have completed the dressing, mixing everything. And I actually did not have to blend this time, but I just wanted you to get a look at this. I want you to see how delicious this looks, and it is so delicious. I've tasted a little bit. It is really going to be great. It's really good. So I'm just going to pour enough of this into my Pampered Chef baker here. This is what I'm going to cook, just enough for me. I'm going to pour this in, and then the rest of it I'm going to put up and freeze so that I will have more for a later date. So I'm just going to pour some of that in there. And for mine, guys, what I added was, maybe I'll have some left. I just added in red and orange peppers and red onions. And you know what? Looks like I may not have any to... Okay. There we go. Yeah, let's go. Let's see if we can go ahead and put this in here. I thought that I would have enough to have a later date. And I know this looks like it's not all going to go in, but after I shake it down a little, I think it's all going to make it. Oops. Yeah. And then the lid will go on the top. So there you have it. And it tastes absolutely amazing. I put in, of course, my celery, red peppers, yellow peppers, and red onion. And so one of the things I wanted to share, what I like to do with mine is I add cream of chicken soup as my little secret recipe. I like to add either cream of chicken or some form of cream of chicken, cream of celery soup for my liquid. I don't just use straight broth. I will add in some cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup. Actually, for the gravy, because I don't do a full turkey and have the giblets, since it's just me, I will cheat and use like the cream of mushroom soup. And then to that, I may add just a little garlic, and I'll add in my eggs for my gravy. That's what I do. That's how I cheat with that. So now you can see my dressing is ready, and I'm just going to place the lid on. I think that's going to be okay. And I'm just going to refrigerate this overnight, let everything settle in and the seasoning settle in really well. And then I'll bake it tomorrow. I'm going to come in tomorrow evening, roll the rolls out, and put them in the pans, and then I won't bake them tomorrow. I'll just let them sit in the pans and rise again. So I'm waiting on the dough to rise. I need it to rise at least once before I go to bed so that I can press it down and let it rise again. So thank you guys for hanging out with me again, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Okay guys, I apologize that you didn't get a chance to see me do the rolls, but you can see here that I just have the rolls just out of the oven, and I am coating them with butter, and I'm just going to let these sit out to stand, and I will cover them tonight after I finish just basting them very well with butter. But I ended up making them, each roll, a lot bigger than I had intended. As you can see, several of them are kind of overflowing out of their muffin pan. And these are my Pampered Chef muffin pans. I won't call it a pan, but stoneware. And I absolutely love these, especially when I'm doing these rolls, because they tend not to overcook or burn, especially on the bottom. And so I am just finishing these up, basting them. I have my dressing over here. I started cooking and I took it out of the oven and I had the turkey wings in, but I'm going to finish cooking that. I'm going to slow cook that in the oven while I go to bed. I'm so tired. It's been a long day. Had to go to work today, worked a full day, and then try to come home and roll out the dough, let this rise again. So it rose very well. Didn't take long for it to rise. So that's ready. I have one pan over here. Because I rolled them too big, I didn't make as much as I usually make because I really roll them oversized, but it's okay. It just means that I can pull it apart and not eat a whole roll. And I'm going to take some of these and put them in the freezer anyway. I'm not going to eat all of these over the next week or so, but I'll have some to put it in the freezer. But anyway, guys, these are the homemade rolls. In fact, why don't I take one and let's open it up on the inside and let you see how that looks. So I'll just take one from here. Oh, that's really hot. That's really hot. But I can open this up at least. See if you can see on the inside. Ooh, how moist that looks. Really nice and moist. So anyways, I love to put the butter on here just after the when it's out of the oven, but hopefully you can see that, how moist that is. But anyways, so guys, thank you for hanging out with me. And while I do my Thanksgiving dinner, and sorry that you can't see me, but those are the rolls. I'm going to finish putting my turkey back in the oven and let that slow cook, and I'm going to go to bed for a little bit, but I'll set the alarm so I can get up. Actually, I'm going to set the oven so it'll turn off, okay? But good night, guys, and if I don't talk to you tomorrow, well, I do have to talk to you tomorrow because I still haven't made the peach cobbler. I'm tired. I'm going to make the peach cobbler early in the morning. So I'll see you early in the morning, Thanksgiving morning. God bless. Okay, guys, I am back. I just took the peach cobbler out of the oven. It looks absolutely amazing. It's going to be so delicious. Can't wait to get into that. But let's take a little tour. Also finished my Beecher's mac and cheese. Now, I did not make this. It's actually from Beecher's Cheese, which is a cheese maker here in Washington. And here's the dressing. Here's how the dressing turned out. Absolutely delicious. Can't wait to get into that. So later on, as I'm going over to my friend's house, I decided to just go ahead and make a pecan pie. So that's what I'm going to take to her house. So I am finished. I finished the peach cobbler this morning. That's what I got up and had to make. And then I did my gravy. You know how I told you I cheat and I do cream of mushroom soup and just add some eggs to it. And you can add like chunks of meat or something like that to it. So anyway, guys, that's my Thanksgiving dinner. It's all prepared. I just finished eating breakfast and I'm going to go up and get dressed for the day. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Hi guys, Elle Elizabeth here. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. I did not want to go the day without coming on and saying, wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving. I am just sitting here this morning. I was up early this morning cooking, but I, of course, took some time to reflect on Thanksgiving and the things that I'm grateful and thankful for. And I thought back to, this year and then late last year, about this time last year. Earlier this year, I lost my brother, and I'm still at a place where it's difficult to believe that he's gone, because I was reflecting on, this is the time of year we would be at one of the sisters' house, either at my house or one of the sisters' house, and having Thanksgiving dinner, and we'd all get together and just have wonderful food and fellowship and just play games and have a good time with one another. And, this brother would usually be the one that we would be giving a hard time, Anthony, or laughing at him or teasing him. So he is really missed this Thanksgiving. I'm really missing him. Also, many years ago, it was around this time that I lost my father as well. So they are reunited in heaven and having a good time, I'm sure. But I also, last year this time, I also had lost a very, very dear friend of mine. Her name was LaFern Washington. And I really just loved and appreciate her, because as a young girl growing up in church, she came into my life at a time when I really needed someone in my life, and she was that person. She was an angel for me, I believe, sent. She was a beautiful person. She was a loving person. She was a kind person. Just beautiful inside and out. Just beautiful inside and out. So she was really there for me, and just really encouraging and just loving. And so I was reflecting on her and the influence that she had in my life. And I'm grateful for the relationships that God had blessed me to have. And I realized that there are times in our life that God moves people on. It's time for them to move on in our lives. And sometimes perhaps it's not time, but we have to go through that when we lose people in our lives. So I was reflecting on that and thankful for the wonderful memories that I had with those two people, my brother and, of course, LaFern. I'm grateful for the memories, even though I lost them. But I am thankful for this morning. I'm so thankful for God, first and foremost, of course, and a relationship with Him, a true relationship with Him, one that doesn't mean that I always get my way, or that it's all about me getting my way. It's a relationship where it's an understanding and a trust in God and a communication with Him through His Word or through prayer and just words of knowledge. It's a relationship where walking into purpose and being of service in the kingdom and being able to influence and being a blessing to others. So I am grateful for that this morning, first and foremost. And I'm also grateful and thankful for the other brothers and sisters that I have. I'm grateful for my brothers who are loving men, taking care of their families, and just the relationship that we have coming together to help take care of our mother. I'm grateful for my other sisters who are funny in their own rights, in their own way, just hilarious. Also doing whatever they can to help take care of their families, but they're beautiful, hardworking women. So I'm grateful for them as well. I'm thankful for my new nephew, Franklin. I'm so thankful for him. And certainly last and certainly not least, I'm so thankful for my son, who I always refer to him as my lamb. He was just the sweetest child, never a day's trouble, never a day's trouble. He is the sweetest lamb, and he found the most precious, I think, beautiful young lady for a wife. So I'm so thankful for both of them. I'm so thankful for both of them as well. They're doing well. I'm thankful that my mother, who is an angel and so sweet, I'm so thankful that she's here and she's doing well. I'm thankful for spirit-filled women who are taking care of her every day. That's a level of peace that God has blessed me with, knowing that there are some women who are taking care of her needs every day and who are doing such a loving, wonderful job. And it's not laborious to them. They're really happy to do it. So I have so much to be thankful for. And this time last year, you guys, I was in an apartment. I had made this transition for Kingdom Purpose back to Washington, and I was in an apartment, and last year this time was just talking to the Lord about from the scripture in Mark, and where he says that, no man has left mother, father, sister, brother, and not received 100-fold in this life and eternal life. And I begin to give that word back to God. And I reminded him that I sold my home in Texas out of obedience to walk the path and take the journey to purpose that he called me to. And not even 6 months after moving and living in an apartment had the Lord not moved to provide a home for me. And so here's where we are today. We're just hanging out in my living room and dining room. It's a nice sunny day in the Northwest, and I've got the fireplace on because it's still cold. And so I'm just thankful today for the things that God is doing in me. I'm so thankful for that. I have friends that the Lord just blesses me to, he'll give me words to say. And I don't know that it's a particular word for them. God has placed something in my heart, and then I'll have a conversation with someone, and it happens to be what God had instilled in me, or what he spoke to me about was a word for someone. And so I'm thankful for, just to be used in the kingdom. It's a blessing to be a blessing to others. It's a blessing to me to speak a word that gives direction to someone who's lost, who's asking a question, who may think that they're confused. It's a blessing to me to be able to do that. So I get joy from doing that. Hence why I have the YouTube channel, Purpose and Beyond. That's the whole focus of this. So I'm so excited about that, but I'm in my home, and as there's not much decorations up, I'm still working on the decor, guys, so don't be too harsh, okay? I'm still working out the decor thing, and there's no rush. Little by little, God will fill this house with treasures, with beautiful and fine furnishings. That's in the Word of God. And so I'm so thankful for that today. But I wanted to just encourage you all today. I want to say this time of the year, it can be stressful, but if you've lost someone this year, just know that, God has sustained you up to this point, and he hasn't gone anywhere. If you think that he's not there, he is. And certainly he has his angels encamped around you to look out for you. And so also, if it was my phone ringing, sorry. And also I want to say that we can, maybe think about things that we don't have, and that's normal. We do that. But I want to exhort and encourage you today, if you're concerned about the fact that maybe you're living in an apartment and you desire to have a home. I have lots of testimonies about homes. This is the third home built from the ground that the Lord has blessed me with. And that's not a bragging thing. If I'm bragging, it's about God and what he's done. It's certainly not me, but there's testimonies behind each one of those times that the Lord blessed me with a home. And so I can share those at some points on my blog, because I believe it will help someone who may be looking for a home. But if you're not in that situation right now, or whatever your situation is, where things are not going exactly the way you like, I just want to encourage you that, one, things could always be worse. But I want to exhort you to thank God for where you are, because the spirit of gratitude is what opens God's hands to pour more into your hands. So be thankful and beware of the enemy's device to make us ungrateful or unappreciative for what God has done. And we can look to the children of Israel in the wilderness experience if we need an example of that, and how God provided at every turn. And they would complain. First it's food, it's manna, and then it's water, and then it's meat. And so at every turn, God gave them what they desired. But they always found time to mumble. Is it mumble or murmur? Murmur and complain. I don't know. Mumble, grumble. I guess that would work too. But thank your God. Be grateful and thank your God today for the blessings that He has bestowed on you. Take some time to reflect back on the times this year where you were in dire situations, or maybe where you were feeling really low about a situation that was going on in your life and you didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And unbeknownst to you, God had a plan to bring you out of that situation, to deliver your state of mind, to make tangible provision for you. And maybe it did not come wrapped in a package like you would have, or like you would have expected or thought. But nonetheless, God provided. He made the provision for you and bless you to overcome in that situation, through that season. And you're here today. You're here today. So I just want to encourage you guys and exhort you to be thankful today. And I also wanted to tell you again, have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving. And look out for more videos coming soon. We're going to get back into the reason for being on here, and we'll start to talk about more things about purpose. Also remember me that I have done the Bible study, Journey to Purpose, and also I do greeting cards. And so I'm going to post a link. I'll add that in the description so that you can go directly to those links if you would like to purchase those items. And then I'm also going to add my P.O. box. I do want to do that because if you're someone who you come across the videos and you find the content of value and there's something said on here that is a blessing to you, would you be a blessing and drop me a postcard or a note to say that this was a blessing to you, that it spoke to you, that a word that's spoken from this channel resonated with you and helped you to move in the direction that God is calling you to. So I want to say to you guys, have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving. May your house be blessed. May your children be blessed. May your families be blessed. May the God cause the sun to shine upon you and your family this year and in the years to come. God bless you guys. Bye.